Hey folks, hope everyone's out there doing well and you're safe and healthy. My name is Olivia Alexander and I am a counseling psychology doctoral student here at U of L. I'm super excited to share my research with you guys today or tonight, depending on when you're watching this recording. Just so you know, my virtual live Q&A session for this presentation will be held on Saturday, March 6th at 1:35 p.m. So come and ask me a few questions if you have them. All right, so let's discuss the impact of gender and prayer frequency on mental health. So prayer frequency is a widely used personal activity that both religious and non-religious people participate in. Many people rely on prayer as a way to build a stronger connection with a higher power and as a coping skill to help them deal with difficult situations in life. Over half of the American population report that they pray on a daily basis, while 21% say they pray on a weekly or monthly basis. This is according to a Pew Research Center survey done in 2015. These stats are even higher among Christian Americans, which within that group, it's 65% report engaging in prayer on a daily basis and 22% report praying either weekly or monthly. So even for Americans who have no religious affiliation, 20% still report engaging in some sort of prayer on a daily basis. So if practicing prayer is such a regular and common activity for people to participate in, millions of people, when you look at the percentages, why isn't the topic more explored in psychological research? So looking at this, all the extensive research on prayer in the United States, the purpose of this particular study is to look at the impact of gender and prayer frequency on mental health. So our study is framed using the deprivation-compensation theory. Proponents of this theory argue that women experience oppression interpersonally, economically, and politically due to their vulnerable position in society. And in turn, they choose prayer as a means for coping with said oppression. So the two running hypotheses for this study are women pray more frequently than men, and the second is there will be a negative relation between prayer frequency and mental health. That's what's expected. So let's get into some methods. So the participants of the study were self-identified Christian adults who reported engaging in private prayer and chose to complete self-report measures online about their prayer behaviors and mental health symptoms. Participants were mostly European Americans, with 90% of the study being European Americans, followed by African Americans, Asian and Pacific Islander, mixed race ethnicity, Hispanic, and others. So as for the procedures for this study, participants were recruited using a sampling through listservs, social media. It was also given out to some undergraduate courses for some credit for their course, and all participants completed the survey using SurveyMonkey. So we had a couple of measures. The measure for prayer frequency, individuals are asked to respond on a Likert scale, a 7-point Likert scale, from never to several times a day. So they never pray or they pray multiple times a day. And the question was, on average, how often would you say that you prayed during the past year, other than during church, like synagogue service, or grace before meals? We didn't count those. As for the mental health measures, we looked at we used the PALMS short form, which stands for the Profile of Mood States, which is a common measure of mental health variables and was used to look at overall mental health for this particular study. So yes, other than the prayer frequency measure and the mental health measure, we looked at demographic information, and we just got that through the survey, which asked for gender, age, their race or ethnicity, and the regional place of residence. Oh, let me make one more note about the mental health measures. So we look specifically at anger expression, anxiety, and depression within that PALMS short form measure. As far as the data analysis goes, to test the hypothesis, we use the PATH model with the maximum likelihood method using Amos 20. In this model, gender, stress, and gender by stress interaction predicted the prayer frequency, and gender, stress, and the gender by stress interaction and the prayer frequency predicted the PALM scale measures for anger, anxiety, and depression. In order to test the hypothesized multiple mediators, 95% confident intervals were used using the bias corrected percentile method by Preacher and Hayes in 2018, their approach. So primarily, the biggest things that we found were that in females, higher prayer frequency is associated with lower levels of anxiety and depression compared to males. Among males, higher prayer frequency was associated with lower levels of anxiety, but not depression. So the results overall demonstrated two significant interaction effects. There was a significant interaction between prayer frequency and gender on depression, as well as a significant interaction between prayer frequency and gender on anxiety. All right, so since prayer is often a personal and private exercise, is really an optimal tool for dealing with mental health issues. In this particular study, the researchers focused on the impact that gender and prayer frequency have on mental health, which was illustrated by anger expression, anxiety, and depression. The results have affirmed both hypotheses that I stated earlier, which were that women do pray more frequently than men, and also that there was a negative relation between prayer frequency and mental health. So overall, the hope is that the results of this study will encourage researchers, educators, counselors, and employers to really demonstrate more of a respect and a reverence and acceptance for people's religious beliefs and behaviors such as prayer. And for educators in particular, I think that there will need to be changes in the academic culture altogether in order to really integrate prayer more often into research. We had a few limitations to this study. First, we had a lack of diversity of the sample, an extreme lack of diversity. So this will decrease the generalizability of the results. And then also the participation was voluntary, so there is a chance for self-selection bias due to the content of the study as well, and the fact that everyone was volunteers. And another issue or limitation is that we only used one question when measuring prayer frequency. So in order to increase some reliability, researchers may want to find more detailed measures to explore prayer frequency further. And all in all, we conclude that prayer is an effective coping strategy, and doing so more often may improve anxiety and depression based on the interaction effects that we found. Thus, mental health professionals should really take prayer frequency into consideration when they're doing treatment planning for issues such as anxiety and anger, and depression as well. So this research supports the idea that both personal factors such as private prayer and biological factors are associated with improved mental health. So it is encourage future researchers to just be mindful of these limitations if they choose to build upon the research that we have going here. And yes, that is the conclusion of this presentation. I've enjoyed spending some time with you virtually today. I hope that you've gotten something out of this presentation, and I look forward to having some discussion with you during the live Q&A session. Thank you for watching. Bye.